The Gospel according to St. Matthew, chapter 5, verse 13. Ye are the salt of the earth, but if the salt hath lost his savour, wherewith shall it be salted? It is thenceforth good for nothing, but to be cast out and to be trodden under foot of men. All right, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to YAHAWAH, bahasham, YAHAWASHI, bahasham, YAHAWAH. YAHAWAH is the true name of the Heavenly Father in the Holy Tongue. YAHAWASHI is the true name of the High Priest and Savior of Israel. And YAHAWAH is the Holy Spirit, which is the Comforter. Double honors the apostles and elders of Great Millstone for leading by example in these last days. And Shalawam to the hopeful elect, all you Akim making your bodies a living sacrifice. Now, through the Spirit, the name of this lesson is Black Men Are Finished. And this is just going to go into, recent events. Just in this last week alone, you have two long-standing idols in Babylon, so-called black men that have been revered for pretty much my entire life. You had Mike Tyson, who just got in a a clearly fixed, just a clown show of an event in which he came out in some thongs, just completely embarrassing himself, destroying his legacy. And right before the fight, he went on a strange rant about how his legacy doesn't matter, showing you he's clearly out of his mind. The only thing you have is your name, your legacy that you leave on the earth. And then you have Denzel just come out with exposing that he's kissed a man on screen and it hasn't leaked yet. Now, this is a man who has never worn a dress on film. He's one of the only so-called black men that have made it in Hollywood without completely selling his soul publicly. Now, we know what these men do behind closed doors in order to get these contracts, but as far as his public persona on screen, he's never done anything to completely ruin his reputation. And, earlier this year, you had Diddy, Meek Mill, just a bunch of sodomites and sellouts. All of the so-called leaders of the entertainment industry of our people, they're all a bunch of freaks. They're all a bunch of weirdos. And the Most High is actually destroying their image and their legacy and their name. Instead of just killing them, he's actually destroying their reputation before he ultimately brings that judgment. And, when you look into what's going on right now on the earth, the Most High is doing away with black culture, the black community, this black identity madness. If you're not an Israelite, if you're not identifying as a son of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, the Most High has a giant target on your back. And it's just a matter of time before you get destroyed. And like I said, he's not just killing Jakes physically. He's actually destroying their names first. He's completely making a mockery out of all the so-called Negroes that this society upheld. And it's a beautiful time to be alive. It's a beautiful time to be a prophet. It's a beautiful time to take hold of your heritage, which was given to us by the Most High. Let me read this again in Matthew. This is the Gospel according to St. Matthew chapter 5, verse 13. It says, Ye are the salt of the earth. Who is YAHAWASHI talking to? He's talking to the disciples, the Israelites that believe on the Most High through his word. It says, But if the salt have lost its savor, wherewith shall it be salted? It is thenceforth good for nothing, but to be cast out and to be trodden under foot of men. Right? So what good is it for you to be an Israelite, for you to have a connection with the Heavenly Father, for you to have the laws, statutes, and commandments that make us a holy people? What good is it for you to have these things if you just completely hide it and just take the cloak of a black man? All right, black culture is nothing but a bunch of, it's really white supremacy with blackface. It's a bunch of Negroes that are pushing a degenerate view of our people. And it's instead of the so-called white man painting himself black and putting on a show and pretending to be us, he just hires a bunch of puppets to do his bidding. All right, you have the so-called best and brightest of our people, the best athletes, the most charismatic, the most musically talented of our people. He buys them off. He just has them sell their souls. He has them, Jake has a, when I say Jake is short for Jacob. All right, our forefather's name was changed to Israel. And, our people, let me get this real quick. In Isaiah, this is the book of Isaiah, chapter 44. I'm going to start at verse 3. It says, For I will pour water upon him that is thirsty, and floods upon the dry ground. I will pour my spirit upon thy seed, and my blessing upon thine offspring. And this is what's going on right now. The Most High is pouring his water on his chosen people. All right, going back to Ezekiel, the 37th chapter, those dry bones are waking up. Our people are coming back into our heritage. And these celebrities, every single one of them, from Kendrick Lamar, Kodak Black, to Drake, to Denzel, to Cat Williams, every single one of them knows that they're a Hebrew Israelite. But what do? They disguise themselves as black men, as African American men, and the Most High is not dealing with that. He's clearly showing you one by one. He's picking these men off, and again, he's starting with their reputation, their name, their legacy, and he's destroying them. And it says this: "And they shall spring up as among the grass, as willows by the watercourses. One shall say, I am Yahawah's, and another shall call himself by the name of Jacob. And another shall subscribe with his hand unto Yahawah, and surname himself by the name of Israel." And this is what's going on with the elect. The elect are putting off that identity of black, that identity of African American, and they're saying, look, I'm from the seed of Abraham. I'm from the seed of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. I'm an Israelite. This is what the 144,000 are doing. This is what the men, women, and children that are following the Lord, that's what they're doing. We're cleaving back into our heritage. It says, "Thus saith Yahawah, the King of Israel, and his Redeemer, Yahawah, the Lord of hosts, I am the first and I am the last, and beside me there is no power." Right? Beside the Most High, there's no other power. All right, there's you niggas that want to worship the black woman, you want to worship Jesus Christ, you want to worship Allah, Buddha, all of these fake gods. There's no God, there's no power except Yahawah, okay? And he has a son, which is YAHAWASHI. It says, verse 7, "And who as I shall call and shall declare it and set it in order for me, since I appointed the ancient people and the things that are coming and shall come, let them show unto them." Now let me get this in the NLT because it's super powerful. It's the Most High, he's in his bag right now. He's talking his talk. It says, "Who is like me?" And this is Isaiah 44:7 in the NLT. It says, "Who is like me? Let him step forward and prove to you his power. Let him do as I have done since the ancient times, when I established a people and explained its future." Now, who's done that? For all you niggas that want to worship different gods and different idols and, oh, I'm not religious, I worship a higher power. You know, I don't worship God, but I know there's a higher power. You know, you niggas that worship melanin, again, you worship the black woman, you worship positive vibrations, you manifest different things. All of you people that worship any God other than the God of Israel, what other power has established a chosen people and explained its future? The Most High actually said, thousands of years in the future, this is what's going to happen. All right, I'm going to give you law, statutes, and commandments. You're going to break them. All right, then you're going to go into slavery on ships, on cargo slave ships. You're going to be taken from one side of the earth to the other. All your enemies are going to be in your neighborhood. They're going to rule over you. Your woman's going to be against the man. The man's going to be against the woman. All right, all of these things that happened to the so-called Negro in America was prophesied thousands of years before it happened. So you worshiping any other God, or you taking hold of any other heritage, or a color. I'm a black man. I'm black and proud. I'm blackity black. Listen, man, we're the Israelites. All right, we're the sons of the Most High. So when you carry yourself as a sodomite, or you're an old ass man in a thong, why would you wait until you're damn near 60 years old to just show your ass? Literally. All right. When I look at these old niggas falling off, it reminds me of the story about Eleazar. Let me get that real quick. This is Second Maccabees, which is full of incredible accounts of men and even women in our history that had great integrity. They were being put to death for not being Hellenized, which Hellenization is when, the Edomites that were calling themselves Greeks at that time, they were going around the earth making people follow Greekish customs. And there was a handful of our people that stood up. And this is a prime example. This is 2 Maccabees 6. I'm going to read it in the GNT for you niggas, man. This is verse 18. It says, "There was an elderly and highly respected teacher of the law by the name of Eleazar, whose mouth was being forced open to make him eat pork." Now, what is going on right here is that Jerusalem was surrounded, was being invaded, and you had, like I said, the Greeks, they were forcing our people to go completely against the law, statutes, and commandments. They know that pork is an unclean animal. They know that it's an abomination to eat and sacrifice pork. So one of the first things they were doing was trying to get the elders of our nation to be seen eating pork publicly. And this is how Eleazar responded. It says, verse 19, "But he preferred an honorable death. Rather than a life of disgrace. So he spit out the meat and went willfully to the place of torture, showing how people should have courage to refuse unclean food, even if it cost them their lives." So this is a man that had such integrity in his old age. He was much older than Mike Tyson, much older than Denzel Washington. He's saying, look, I would rather face death than eat pork. Now, fast forward today, our people, they love pork. You try to tell Jake that, the dietary law of the Bible is still in effect. they'll actually argue with you. They'll get mad. What you mean I can't have pork chops? What you mean that the Lord doesn't want me to eat gumbo? Our people don't have integrity. But this is a memorial. This is an example for future generations. What is going to say? Let me keep reading. It says, those in charge of the sacrifice had been friends of Eleazar for a long time, and because of this friendship, they told him privately to bring meat that was lawful for him to eat. He need only pretend to eat the pork, they said, and in this way he would not be put to death. So Eleazar, his friends were like, look, you don't have to eat pork for real. Just eat this food that looks like pork. We'll tell him it's pork. That way you can technically keep the laws of the Most High, and you don't have to be put to death. It says, but Eleazar made a decision worthy of his gray hair and advanced age. All his life he had lived in perfect obedience to the Most High's holy laws. So he replied, kill me here and now. Such deception is not worthy of a man of my years. Many young people would think that I had denied my faith after I was 90 years old. If I pretended to eat this meat just to live a little while longer, it would bring shame and disgrace on me and lead many young people astray. For the present, I might be able to escape what you could do to me, but whether I live or die, I cannot escape the almighty power. So this is a man that had so much integrity. He was given the option of eating a lawful meat and just pretending that it was unlawful. But he said, no, man, I'm a 90-year-old man. What do I look like lying about eating pork in front of young, impressionable Israelites? This is a man that had ultimate integrity. And he not only did he fear the Most High and keep his commandments, which is the whole duty of man. When you read Ecclesiastes 12 and 13, he had a fear of the Most High, and he also had respect for the youth of his nation. He knew that he was an elder. He knew that he was supposed to be an example. He knew that, his integrity and his legacy was more important than living a few more moments on the earth. And integrity is something our people lack. The so-called black man in America has little to no integrity. He'll do anything for money. Jake worships money. Jake grows up in poverty and thinks that, okay, this shallow feeling that I have, this emptiness, this hole inside of me, it can only be filled with money. Not knowing that we're the richest men on earth. We're going to inherit the kingdom of heaven. Everything in earth belongs to us. All right. That's why it tells you in Psalms 82, it's a verse that everybody knows, ye are gods, all of you shall die like men. But when you keep reading on down, it says, arise and inherit the nations. All right. We're going to inherit these people. So you selling out to a heathen, especially an Edomite, somebody that's going to be exterminated in the kingdom of heaven, that just shows a lack of faith. All right. That's why Eleazar was like, look, if I eat this pork, it's going to be, even though if I eat something that looks like pork, technically I'm keeping the law, but it shows a lack of faith. It shows a lack of integrity. And this is the type of honor that, is missing in a Mike Tyson or a Denzel Washington or a P. Diddy, a Meek Mill, a Jay-Z and Beyonce. All of these people are freaks and weirdos. And it would be beautiful if our people had integrity. But, there is, the Lord said what? There's 7,000 men that I've reserved that shall not bow their knee. So there's a complete number of Israelites, starting with the 144,000, which is 12,000 men out of each tribe that aren't going to bow down, that aren't going to basically bend over for this system, man. The majority of our people will. But let me finish this out. Let me finish out the second Maccabees. Again, this is in the GNT, which is it's another edifying translation of the Apocrypha. It says, If I die bravely now, it will show that I deserve my long life. It will also set a good example of the way young people should be willing and glad to die for our sacred and respected laws. As soon as he said these things, he went off to be tortured, and the very people who had treated him kindly a few minutes before now turned against him because they thought he had spoken like a madman. Right? People, when you speak about the Most High and you speak about the integrity that a man of the Lord should have, when you speak about certain virtues that are more important than money, virtues that are more important than your own life, you sound like a madman to these people that don't have integrity. Like, how could you worship this invisible power and these commandments? How could you love the commandments so much that you don't even want to have the appearance of breaking a commandment? We're offering you some chicken. All you have to do is say that it's pork, and we'll let you live. You can keep the laws, and we'll let you live. But no, just the appearance of evil. That's why Apostle Paul said, abstain from appearance of evil. He was so concerned with his reputation. And, our so-called men, our so-called elders of our nation today, these celebrities, these puppets, they don't have integrity. They don't have that thought that, you know what, there are young people that look up to me. I'm not going to do this. Even if, it's technically legal, even though it's technically lawful, this will cause young men to go astray. And since I'm an older man, I'm going to lead by example. That's not a thought that enters the mind of the so-called black man. That's why he's finished. The Most High is done with black people. He's done with black culture. All right, the black woman's been done over a decade ago. Social media is just exposing how finished our women truly are. And, there's still this idea that rap is cool. Certain celebrities, certain athletes, they're cool. And the Most High is doing away with that, man. He's picking them off one at a time. Like, look, you think this guy's cool? Let me show you what he's doing behind closed doors. You think this guy's a legend? Let me show you what his mind is really about. He's breaking this place down, man. If you're not an Israelite, if you're not calling on YAHAWAH, bahasham, YAHAWASHI in truth and sincerity, you're finished. All right, we say it all the time. If you're not in this truth, you're basically a sodomite. Every so-called black man that's not in this faith is either done something, about to do something, thinking about doing something, or he's condoned something that's completely a total abomination. All right, Jake is a damn trisexual. He'll try anything. All right, he's like, Jake has that a real lewd, lascivious spirit. All right, a hole is a hole. Jake contemplating dealing with man, all manner of wickedness, man. Jake is at the end of himself. And if you're not in this truth, who are you praying to? What is your hope? If you're not in this truth, what do you hope to happen? We have a lively hope. We have a hope that after America's destroyed, which is imminent, okay, the death of this country is imminent, and we know that we're going to rule next. Now, if you don't believe in the Bible, what is your hope? What is the hope of a black man? You just had a so-called election where, I forget the exact number, it's like 80% of you niggas voted with Eve. You voted with the so-called black woman to vote in an Edomite Indian woman, like just a heathen pretending to be a black woman with no so-called black relatives, no aunts, uncles, brothers, cousins. This is a heathen on both sides of her family that descends from slave owners in Jamaica, pretending to be a black woman, and she ran on murdering the unborn of you Israelites. And you niggas, you voted right alongside Eve. Eve is done, okay? Eve has been done. She's a slave to the plantation of the Democratic Party. And you had 80% of our men, or I should say males, who voted right alongside her, man. Now, we don't condone democracy on any level. Democracy is completely against the scriptures. But at least Jake, who's voting for Trump, they're breaking away from this democratic plantation slave Django identity that the so-called white man has given our people, going back to LBJ. All right, you give these people a bunch of handouts, a bunch of benefits, and they just vote Democrat no matter what, who's on the ticket, no matter what the policy is, what the platform is about. It could be about this woman. Actually, she had a group of whores twerking, and that's supposed to be like to rally the campaign of you so-called black women. That's what these people think of you. You're a bunch of whores that just need to twerk and vote. That's all you need to do. And again, 80% of the males of our nation, because black men are finished, they followed mama. All right, they voted with their mom, their sister, their grandma. They didn't even vote in their own best interest. Now, again, there's no politician that cares about the nation of Israel, but at least whatever you want to say about Republicans, they don't play in your face. They don't pretend to love black people while passing all these laws that destroy our people. They're openly just overtly racist. All right, Donald Trump, he's very clear about not liking you tribes, man. All right, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. The 12 tribes of Israel are clearly not a priority in the Republican Party, and they're very open about that. But then you have these demons on the other side of the aisle that pretend to be your friend, that smile in your face, that pretend to care about you, and all they push on your people is lewdness, abortion, which is murder, okay, and degeneracy, slackness. This is ultimately the plan for the so-called white man is for you niggas to be perpetual slaves and coons and pets. And again, over 90% of our women are okay with that. But what's up with the 80% of you niggas? All right, why are black men supporting an Indian woman pretending to be a black woman? For what? 80% of you niggas, man. Again, the so-called black man is finished. If you're not in this truth, going back to my earlier question, if you don't have a hope in the kingdom of heaven, what is your hope? You hope that America will be made great again. You hope the economy will come back. You hope that you'll get to make $35 an hour next year. Like, what is your hope? You're going to make what, $70K a year instead of $60K? You're going to make 80K instead of 70K. You're still, your ultimate fantasy is to still be a slave that makes a few $1,000s a year more than you did last year. That's pathetic. Okay. The hope of the Israelites is to rule, to have freedom, to have the law, statutes, and commandments and our inward parts to be perfect. All right. Our hope is perfection. Our hope is immortality. What is the hope of a black man? You got niggas like all of these these old bugged out niggas that are still on a plantation. What is their hope? They're telling you to vote for a Democrat instead of a Republican to do what? What is voting for either candidate going to do for you people? And you so-called celebrities, what is their hope? Okay, my team is going to win the championship this year. Then what? What happens if one team wins a ring instead of another team? What good is that going to do for your people? What's that going to do for the earth? Do you not realize that the earth is being destroyed? The earth that your children live on, the food that they eat, the water they drink, the air that they consume is being polluted every single day. What goddamn difference does it make which Edomites you support in politics? This whole system has to be destroyed. And if that's not your hope, then what is it? Let me get this in Second Esdras, because this goes into our hope compared to you niggas. This is Second Esdras chapter 4, and this is back in the KJV. This is verse 28. It says, "But as concerning the things whereof thou askest me, I will tell thee, for the evil is sown, but the destruction thereof is not yet come." Right, the evil is sown. When you look at everything that's done, it all goes back to the evil that's been sown. As a matter of fact, it's going to tell you. Let me keep going. It says, "If therefore that which is sown be not turned upside down, and if the place where the evil is sown pass not away, then cannot it come that is sown with good." Right. What type of good is going to come out of the so-called black community? What type of rebirth can come from a bunch of niggas? What good can come from the evil that's been sown with the feminist movement, black feminism specifically? What good can come from hip hop culture? What good can come from the LGBT community? What good can come from black culture? You have a bunch of sellouts that have completely sold their soul, and they've injected our children's minds. When I say our children, I'm talking about myself included. All right, we were all started as children. We all grew up listening to demonic music, being influenced with all sorts of demonic ideas that are completely against the scriptures. What good can come from that outside of the scriptures? If you're not born again in the spirit, what are you going to be born again by? Pan-Africanism, consciousness, wokeism. What good can come of this place? All right, everything that we see has to be destroyed, and a righteous kingdom has to be established, dealing with the law, statutes, and commandments. Outside of that, what else is there? Are you Hotep niggas? Y'all can't agree on a law. You Muslim niggas, you don't have a law. The Quran doesn't have laws. You can't build a functioning society on the Quran. That's been tried. It always fails. That's why they have something called Sharia law. Sharia law is a set of laws outside of the Quran, because you can't rule off the Quran. You can rule with the law, statutes, and commandments, which is found in the Holy Scriptures. Which, again, you're not going to find that in Christianity, Judaism, Islam, Hotepism, Pan-Africanism, Black consciousness, all of these just completely insane doctrines that our people love to cleave to. It doesn't lead to anything constructive, and it certainly doesn't lead to immortality. There's no immortality that's going to come without the laws, statutes, and commandments of the Most High. And our hope is that those commandments are going to be placed in our inward parts, so we don't have to grow up and be subject to these degenerates, these so-called celebrities. These people have completely sold their soul. It says, "For the grain of evil seed hath been sown in the heart of Adam from the beginning. And how much ungodliness hath it brought up unto this time?" Right, how much ungodliness has been brought forth up unto this time that we're in right now. It says, "And how much shall it yet bring forth until the time of threshing come? Ponder now by thyself how great fruit of wickedness the grain of evil seed hath brought forth." Right, so there's a time of threshing. There's going to be a time where all of this evil is going to get plucked up. It tells you in Ecclesiastes, the 3rd chapter, that there's a time to plant and a time to pluck up that which has been planted. And the time to pluck up is now. Okay, all of this demonic, these Greek fraternities, all of this pro-black madness, all of these sellouts, going back to Michael King, who calls himself Martin Luther King, another goddamn sellout. All of this madness that's been planted for generation after generation, the time for it being plucked up is right now. YAHAWASHI is coming back, and he's going to establish a kingdom, and he's going to restore the judges as at the first. Let me get that in Isaiah. Because when you read Isaiah, the 1st chapter, it starts out by telling you that the ox knoweth his owner, the ass is master's crib, but Israel doth not know. It starts talking about how wicked our people are, sinful nation. Let me start at the top. The point is a little bit further, but I want to show you that this hope that we have, this faith in the scriptures, it's a narrative. It's a narrative. It's a story of an underdog that, he's at the bottom, but he's redeemed. All right, we have a redeemer. This is a redemption story. The story of the Holy Scriptures is a redemption story for the nation of Israel. So if you don't believe in the scriptures, what is the redemption for a black man who's sold his soul, who has his ass cheeks on display for the whole world, who performed all sorts of lewd acts behind closed doors? What is the redemption of a nigga, man? All right, the redemption is for Israel. This is Isaiah 1. I'm going to start at 3. It says, the ox knoweth his owner, and the ass his master's crib, but Israel doth not know. My people doth not consider. So the book starts with the Most High comparing Israel to dumb animals. It goes on to say, sinful nation, a people laden with iniquity, a seed of evildoers, children that are corrupters. They have forsaken Yahawah. They have provoked the Holy One of Israel unto anger. They are gone away backwards. And that's our people, man. They've gone away backwards. It's backwards for you to be in a position where you make so-called, millions of dollars, you're a celebrity, you have all this status, and then when you get in your 60s, you start kissing men in the mouth, displaying your ass cheeks, you start doing all sorts of lewd, weirdo acts, man. That's backwards, man. When you're in your age, your old age, you're supposed to be more you're supposed to have more discipline, you're supposed to have more understanding, more wisdom. All right, you should be more integral as you get older. You should be less in your flesh. You should have more of an understanding of how the world works, a more appreciation of your name. All right, the Most High allowed you to live this long. You should be more grateful to the Father. You shouldn't be getting more and more lewd the more you get older. That's completely ridiculous. It says, why should you be stricken anymore? You will revolt more and more. The whole head is sick and the whole heart faint. Right, the whole head is sick. And Judah is supposed to be the head tribe of the nation of Israel. You so-called Negroes in America specifically, you're supposed to be the head of the nation of Israel. Now, when you look at the heads of this people, they're sick. They're sick in the head, man. There's nothing more sick than a so-called black man that's been given a platform. You podcast niggas, which y'all are getting exposed left and right. You got the one dude, he's got 1 million videos on why you shouldn't date single mothers, but then he's booed up with a Becky, and he's raising some Edomite babies, man. He's a stepdad to some Edomites. Jake is finished. The so-called black man is finished in America. Every hustle, every scam, every scheme, the Most High is exposing it. And he's doing that right before he kills you. And it's beautiful because he could have just made niggas just drop dead from the jab a couple of years ago, but he's actually destroying their name first. He's making it known. Look, I'm not dealing with this. I'm not dealing with this entertainment industry. I'm exposing that. I'm not dealing with this Hollywood madness. I'm exposing that. I'm not dealing with these athletes, these celebrities. I'm exposing that. When it all goes down, everyone's going to know to not look to T.I. and Killer Mike for the answers. They're going to know to not look to Jay-Z and Beyonce for the answers. They're going to know to not look to the Democratic Party for answers. So you niggas that just voted for Kamala Harris, you're about to die, okay? Any nigga that's still voting is bugged out. But if you're voting for an Indian woman, man, Jake is finished. But I want to skip down because this is the point right here. This is our hope. This is our same chapter, the book of Isaiah, chapter 1. This is verse 26. It says, and I will restore thy judges as at the first, and thy counselors as at the beginning. Afterward thou shalt be called the city of righteousness, the faithful city. Right, that's our hope, that the judges as at the first are going to be restored. All right, New Jerusalem is going to come down out of heaven, as it tells you in Revelation, the 21st chapter. All right, there's going to be a New Jerusalem. It's not going to be a bunch of celebrities or young people looking to be the next Mike Tyson, Mike Jordan, looking to be the next Kobe, looking to be the next Tupac, and all of these niggas. All right, we actually have a heavenly council that's going to govern the earth in righteousness. It's not going to be based on athletic ability or your ability to sell out. All right, because contrary to popular belief, a lot of these celebrities, they're regular niggas that didn't have any integrity. There's all kind of jakes that didn't make it to the league, that didn't make it to Hollywood, that were extremely talented, but they refuse to get in the back of that limo. They refuse to get on the casting couch. That's why you have a lot of jakes that are super talented but don't make it, because they actually fear the Lord on some level. All right, the Most High didn't want them to be in that world. He preserved them And he has some of them in the ministry. He has some of them that are going to be saved but aren't called to be prophets and teachers. I said it earlier. Let me just get it, because the Most High actually has 7,000 men reserved. This is the book of Romans chapter 11, verse 4. It says, "But what saith the answer of the Most High unto him? I have reserved to myself 7,000 men who have not bowed the knee to the image of Baal." And Baal, it's a word that means Lord. It's a word that means master. And when you go into it, our people were worshiping idols, and they would just give them names like Baal or Molech. And right now, the Most High, he has 144,000 men, many of which are on the earth. Some are in the spiritual realm. But he has men that are allotted from the beginning of time to not worship these idols, to not bow to the image of Baal. And we know the image of the beast goes into, the Roman system, the so-called white man's imagination. And that chip, all right, the mark of the beast, the majority of these people, especially these celebrities, they love their money. They love their status. They're going to take the MOTB. They're going to inject that grain of rice in their right hand or in their forehead. And all of our people that are still following this madness, they're going to be destroyed. So those of you that see the writing on the wall, those of you that see that the so-called black man in the world is finished, no matter how much money or fame he has, he's done because he doesn't have the love of the Father. Those of you that are waking up to this, you need to take the truth seriously. All right, put off the ways of this world and put on as the elect, because there's a remnant. Let me read the next verse. It says, this is Romans 11:5. "Even so then, at this present time also, there is a remnant according to the election of grace." So there's an election. There's the real election, all right, not between the Democrats and the Republicans. The actual election is between the remnant of the nation of Israel and these 2/3, these losers, these degenerates that call themselves idols and famous and this and that. These niggas are done, man. The image of the so-called black man is finished, all right? If you're not an Israelite, if you're not taking heed to the law, statutes, and commandments, and most importantly, if you're not believing on his son, YAHAWASHI, all right, not Jesus, not black Christ, all right, his name is YAHAWASHI, and he's coming back to establish a righteous kingdom, all right? If you don't believe in that, then what do you believe in? What is your hope? If it's not the kingdom of heaven, what is your hope in? All right, so this is just something to ponder. You niggas are finished. If you don't believe in YAHAWASHI, you're going to die. That's the moral of the story. So with that, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahawah, bahasham, YAHAWASHI, bahasham, rahak, wadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of great Millstone, and Shalawam to the hopeful elect.